Solar photovoltaic panels, commonly called PV panels, convert energy from the sun into electricity. PV panels, or modules, are made up from a set of connected solar cells. When light falls on a cell, electricity is produced. This is then fed into an inverter, which converts the direct current into alternating current, which is the form of electricity used by household appliances. Solar panels work best when they face south and are tilted at an angle of about 35 degrees, about the same as the average pitched roof. This way they get the most sunlight. Solar PV produces most of its output in the summer months, and obviously it doesn't work at all at night. Wind turbines work by converting a portion of the energy in wind into rotational motion. This is then converted into electricity by a turbine and generator. To be economically viable, wind turbines need to be sited in windy places. But what is windy enough? The annual average wind speed at hub height, the centre of the rotating blades, needs to be around 6 meters per second. Because the higher up you are, the windier it is, wind developers tend to prefer the tallest hub height possible. And obviously it helps if wind turbines are sited on hills and in open spaces. What's more, the wind needs to blow from the same direction as much as possible and be uninterrupted by nearby obstacles such as buildings, high hedges and trees. Turbulent sites are not good, even if the gusts of wind are quite fast. Without getting too technical here, it's important that you understand the effect of scale. A small wind turbine, 10 metres high at the hub, can generate enough electricity for about 3 average homes, whereas a large wind turbine, 80 metres high at the hub, can generate enough for 1,200 homes. And here's why. As we know, the higher up you are, the windier it is, so the taller turbine can catch more wind. And what's more, there's a cubic relationship between wind speed and power output. This means that if the wind speed doubles, the amount of electricity produced is multiplied by 8. Secondly, the power output is proportional to the swept area of the turbine blades. Therefore, if you double the length of the blades, power output is quadrupled. Hydroelectric systems work by converting the energy of moving water into electricity using a turbine and a generator. They do this by exploiting the water's potential energy, the water's fall or head, along with some kinetic energy, the water's flow. A 600 watt hydro system would generate enough electricity for a single average home over the course of a year. Recently developed community scale hydro projects include Osney Lock in Oxford, which is 49 kilowatts and generates enough electricity for 55 homes, and Halton Loon Hydro near Lancaster, which is 160 kilowatt, generating enough electricity for around 245 homes. Once installed, hydropower generates energy almost all the time, varying slightly with seasonal alterations in flow. This means that over a year, a 1 megawatt hydro installation would generate far more energy than a 1 megawatt wind turbine or solar array, which are much more intermittent. Hydro is also fairly low maintenance and has a long working life of around 30 to 50 years, as opposed to 25 to 30 years for wind turbines and solar. In a typical small-scale hydro system, some of the water is diverted from the river into a specially dug open channel, called the leat, while the rest continues downstream. The diverted water turns the turbine as it passes through or over it, and in doing so it generates electricity. The diverted water is then returned to the main river. All hydro systems need to be designed to make sure that the amount of water diverted doesn't pose a risk to fish and other aquatic life. For projects up to 5 megawatts in size, energy produced from solar PV, wind, hydro and anaerobic digestion qualify for the Smart Export Guarantee. This pays customers for renewable electricity they have generated and exported into the grid. It was launched in 2020 and replaces the feed-in tariff, which is now closed for new applicants. Projects larger than 5 megawatts can bid to sell electricity through the Contracts for Difference regime, the government's main mechanism for supporting low-carbon electricity generating projects. Finally, a word about batteries. These are increasingly common in homes, are sometimes known as energy storage systems, and are roughly the size of a small fridge. Batteries are most commonly used with solar PV, because there are times when a household's solar panels will generate more electricity than the home actually uses, for example in the summer months. The power generated by the panels can be stored until required to run lights or appliances or charge a car. The energy stored in the battery can also be exported into the grid, though it is worth checking with your supplier whether the electricity exported from a battery qualifies for their smart export guarantee payments.